Marieke.
Marie.
Marie.
Marieke is also possible.
No, Marie and Stef. Okay.
Of course, now they're paid,
Nice.
but we're still taking
12 years of
and we take them.
Yeah. So you just arrived like 1 hour ago.
Something like that, yeah. But it was a very, very short flight. It's not that we came from all the way back, which is in Europe, everything is closer.
I've only seen one of your shows in Avignon 2 years ago.
So it was a sheep
the
song.
sheep song.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. In the
Yeah.
smallest theater we've ever played that performance,
Really?
yeah. It was really
It doesn't look
struggling for
smaller.
us. It was a big struggle for us.
Yeah,
Oh,
we had to
really?
we had to saw off, like cut off pieces of the decor to just fit it in the theater.
Yeah.
It was so small.
We were happy to be there, but it was
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
difficult to put it in the theater. But
And
it
we had
was the
some
only
scenes we
solution.
couldn't do because it was
Yeah.
just too small. But
It doesn't look like this.
No?
I mean,
Okay.
it looked like spectacular, very,
yeah,
very
okay.
nice. Yeah, and the rest I know it's from the Google, YouTube, and things, but it's a name that in a lot of companies here in Barcelona, like an example of some aesthetics that you do. You are in the conversation sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Wow.
Maybe it's with us. We work with a stage designer that's called Pau Massaló that also does other things, but he always puts you like an example, like, oh, look what they have done.
Oh, wow.
And well, so that's the way I knew you.
Okay.
Because our stage designer show us like,
Yeah.
do you like this? We can do like
It's
this.
crazy, yeah. It's
Well,
crazy.
and that's the way.
okay, so you don't with your company you always use like a stage designer, an external stage designer, or is it always the same guy, or are you involved yourselves with the stage designer?
We are very involved. The fact our first shows we did the stage designer, no?
Yourself.
Ourselves, yeah, with some help, and then when we had a little bit of money so we could pay somebody from, we have also worked with them, no? Very, very close.
Yeah.
And in fact, we have only worked with three, well, not only, but I mean with 3 people that they are very close, some friends, very close, and I mean
That you
one
understand each other's language.
Yeah.
Not really friends, but more or less.
Close people, yeah.
But it's not from the very beginning that you invited people to collaborate on a stage design. In the very beginning, you did it yourself.
Yeah.
And what did you decide to get
Find
collaboration, to find other people?
Yeah, because basically was this person was very close to the group, and we like his style and the way he thinks, and we said, come join us. We said stage designer, but at the end it was all much more mixed, like also dramaturgist, friend. I mean, but at the end you have to put
The credits.
the credits, and he did, but it's very like marmalade.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, in our case, it's also like that. We don't have separate credits for functions. We actually do everything like under FC Bergman. So it's all
really?
Everything is quite collectively. Yeah.
We never invited somebody else to collaborate on the stage design because that's something I think
that's
from the
so
very
much the core of what we make. Yeah.
Indeed, it's from the very beginning. It was really that's what our poetics are about, really about the sets and about the stage design. So a lot of the dramaturgy and the narrative is already
starts from that.
Yeah, in the design. So it feels like odd to invite somebody else to do this for us.
Yeah,
we had some times, or I speak for myself. So there are some designers that we really admire, some stage designers that we really love and that we dream of to work with some days, but in the other hand we know that we're never going to, because it would be strange to not do it ourselves.
Yeah.
But for example, Anna Wiebrock or Jan Verswerfeld, or they're geniuses in what they're doing. Like they're the best stage designers in all over the world. So it's yeah, it's like a dream, but maybe it has to stay a dream, and it's good. I think that we, yeah.
But you know, you have some tools of stage designer, of have studied something.
You know, we're just dreamers, and then we say do it.
Okay, yeah.
No, we used to do it ourselves when we were just starting, and we were like trying with a hammer and a. But Joey is one of us, and he's a really technical guy. So he's always the one who can turn the dream into some kind of reality. Yeah.
So he can tell us whether things are totally impossible or maybe they're possible.
Slightly possible, possible enough.
And if they're slightly possible, then we push it to make it happen. Yeah. But we, for example, when we were invited to create an opera, then we had to bring in our stage design, but we didn't know how to like make this technical plans or
drawings
or maquettes. So then we just started to build it in clay, and we brought in just sort of a building out of clay and said, okay, this is our design.
We want this.
Yeah. And then we collaborated with the team of the opera, and then they started making technical sketches. So it's the fact that
the technical translations is not done by us. It's just the idea, and then we find people who help us to make it possible.
And we work for more or less 10 years now as an artist in residence in Tonelas. It's a city theatre of Antwerp. We are since 2 years. We're their artistic directors as well, together with some other artists. But since the very first day that we worked there, we started collaborating very closely with the decor atelier, with the workshops. So now
they started to learn our language really,
and they know us
fast.
so well. So from the moment we come up with an idea and with some very rough sketches, they start developing and making like these technical designs, and so it's.
And then they come back to us, and then it's like step by
dialogue.
step.
Yeah. So we are a collective. We are 4 people now. We started back in the days with 6 people. Now we're 4. But every time we make a project, we really, and that's probably something that you really recognize yourself. We really expand our team. It's really the house that we collaborate with becomes part of the collective and part of the team. So it's really about collaborating all the time. It's not that we have this idea and then we dictate it and they just have to fix it. No, we really make it together.
I can imagine, and it's hard also, no? Difficult. I mean, when you are, in my case, when the more people you enter to your house, the more dialogue and negotiation.
But the thing is, it's really about knowing each other. If you collaborate, and the only way to artistically to get to know each other is by collaborating and by making projects. And so every project is really like wartime. It's like going to the bone, and after you succeeded in collaborating on a project together, it's so intense, and you got to know each other so deeply that creating something else together, it's not so difficult anymore.
No, and I think when there is some friction, I think it's also positive sometimes.
Of course.
I mean, I deal with this very bad, but I know that when it has happened to us, we have grown also. You are afraid, but sometimes the friction also makes things happen.
Makes you grow, of course.
It's a bit of salt, to the room, and
you are 3 people.
We are 3,
And how did you get
we
to
met
know?
in the school, in the Institut del Teatre.
As actors?
Yes, as a text-based actors.
Same as us.
Same as
really?
us. Yeah.
Okay. So we met there, and from the beginning we started to do little things in the school, basically because I'm sure you recognize this. We didn't like anything, anything from was on the theater. We were very critical, like, no, we don't like this. Basically, a lot of text-based shows, and I don't know why we were a bit like distant with this. We wanted to do like another thing, and this was like el motor, no? The motor of, okay, we want to do another thing. Then, of course, things have evolved, and we put text in our shows, or no, or yeah. I mean, it's not so.
So also, you make sometimes performances without text.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 2 of our shows have no text. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But not because we wanted to.
No,
it just appeared like this. Yeah. So yeah, this is how.
So actually, for us, it's the same. We
very recognizable.
We met each other at school, and in our second, like the education in Antwerp, in Belgium, it's like 4 years of theater school. And in our second year, we started FC Bergman in like summer vacation and summer holidays, and we were invited by a squatters movement, and they had like this very alternative theater festival. And they asked us to do something, and we, like the people in our class of theater school, that raised their hands and said, "Okay, I wanna join the party."
Collaborate.
That was the team that became FC Bergman. So yeah, very randomly actually. And then we, from the very beginning, because we were also trained as text-based actors, and our teachers were. There was like one.
Not interested in formal aspects at all. At that moment.
They were, but on a very different level. They were. It was very much about very small gestures and very, very subtle and very. How shall we say it? Like
the person was the central part. Eh?
Yeah.
And everything else was like, okay, complementary or something.
I understand.
Yeah, and the school was raised by sort of a guru-like old woman, who was great. She was really great. She
was a great actress herself.
She died a couple of years ago, but like
strange teacher.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, but very passionate and very inspiring. But all
teacher stories are always very interesting.
But all the teachers on this school, they were all like ex-students of her or people that she knew very well. So it was almost like a cult with very good taste and very. It was a very great and nice education, but very specific on one
kind of theater.
One sort of theater, indeed. And so when we started in our second year, we decided to create, or not decided, it just happened like that. But we started to create something totally different than what we were taught at school.
With a lot of images and not thinking too much about the dramaturgy.
Almost
and
no
just
text.
Saying yes to every idea and just like go in some kind of rock and roll kind of flow.
Yeah. So very early we just left the path of text, and in the first performance there was some text, but then we just started to create stuff without words, and that was quite weird back in the days, because that was something that of course it existed in Flanders, but not so much. It was most of the time it was text-based theater, so it was a little bit strange, and then with lots of images and lots of it's not that it was very thought through. We just in those beginning years we just said yes to lots of ideas and just went for it, and so it was very impulsive and visceral way of creating theater, I think.
Nice, we had a teacher that also gave us this tip of, in the beginning, say yes to everything. Like if you want to start with something and you are
that would be a tip I would give to
just yes, and then the no will arrive much later. And we also took this tip, and it really worked for us just to begin, no? Because the beginnings are always, in our case, very crazy, like blank page, and let's put something randomly, no? And with this, so I recognize this.
It's really, I think I can speak for both of us that we're not like teachers. We don't usually teach, but sometimes we're asked for a workshop or just with young students to have a talk, and I think it's the only thing that we actually say to them, to really say in the beginning years, say yes. Just try to say yes to lots of things, and that's a very good base for a collaboration, I think, in the very beginning when you are
And trying to find a language together.
yeah. And it's just as you say, the no will come later, and it will come very hard.
It did.
And it's hard,
In our case.
no? When the no arrives, it's also hard to
very
recognize it and say, okay,
Yeah.
what I was so close, and now I have to say no because it's not working or it's not part of the show, or.
And we also went through a phase that we said no too much. It was like, but are we still having fun, or is it still like what we in doubting too much? And then we went back a little bit more to the yes. So it's always like a little.
But that's something I find really touching when you go to projects of like young theater students or people they just came out of school and they create something. The most moving and touching thing about that is that you say that they most of the time said yes to lots of things, and it's so bursting of energy and of ideas, and it's not often it's not so polished already, but it's like the big
more solid
power that's in starting. It's something that right now we're still young, we're in our 30s, 35, 30, but I already can be very jealous of people that are
can still start.
That can really start and say,
starts.
okay, here I come, and I had lots of ideas, and maybe I'm not able to articulate them very well, but I just shout and see what's happening. It's really something I can be really envious. Envious, not jealous.
Yeah, why not? We were talking about the beginnings, a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm interested, I guess, what you are saying, that the stage, it's like a very important part of your shows, no? But how it's, from the beginning, you have like an idea of the stage, or how do you start?
It's always different. We've started from a book, and we've started from a painting, and we've started from just a thought of somebody that had, like, for example, the sheep song is really like, what about a sheep that becomes human? And that was it, the basis. And then we started to make a performance out of that. So it's always very different.
Okay.
But I think, what's quite specific is that we started 15 years ago as a site-specific company. So we in the beginning years we only created pieces for site-specific in like this big warehouses or halls or hangars. So that made already a big part of the scenography. And it was only since we moved to Toneelhuis, which is the city theater of Antwerp, that we started creating for the stage.
In the theater.
In the theater. And I think what we explored the first years until recently is how we could bring this site-specific way of thinking about scenery into the theater. So the first performances we created for the classical theater venue were very much about pushing the boundaries of the theater. So we overbuilded the theater seats, so we built a swimming pool in the theater where the audience would be, or brought in a forest. So it was always like pushing the edges of the stage. And it's actually only quite recently that we find sort of peace with the boundaries of the stage, and that we started as grown adults to use the stage the way it was made for.
So it's like in your DNA, no? The way you
absolutely
your relation with the stage. It's like this.
How is it with you guys?
So it's getting like this more and more, but it's not from the beginning. At the beginning, it's a very performance actor thing. I mean, like, okay, we are two on stage. Let's start with something just actoral.
Also, improvisation, rehearsal. Okay.
Improvisation from excuse, a poem or a song or whatever thing. Okay. But very like actors, no? Like, okay, we are three and just we play with this, no?
Okay.
And then it's in another show. Okay, we're gonna put chairs. I don't know, like, okay, so 13 chairs. Let's do something. And more it's getting more important the stage.
Yeah.
Okay.
More, but at the same time, I don't feel it like a path that we are going that way. I mean, it can turn.
Anytime.
Anytime, no? Like the show we did last year, we recovered a bit the actors thing. Like we wanted to do scenes. Like small scenes, and we do a show of 20 small scenes, no?
Okay.
Because we wanted to, no? We were getting far from the actor, the theater actor we not
trained to be.
And now we were like, also after the pandemic, we had this need of like, we want again the dialogue, the energy of an actor, no? And so we did one, but then the other one we went to no text, no. So we are like,
yes.
I don't know, like.
Yeah, we actually almost never start from improvisation or from our core training as an actor. We very early started to just create images and from like being at the table together. And just talk about what we're going to do, and then write it out, write scenarios, and so it's very rarely that we just start improvising on just it happens.
We did it only once actually with the Land of Nod.
Yeah,
that was the only performance that we did it.
And of course, if we often have lots of movements or
choreographical parts that we have
dance-like parts, and
we really have to develop.
We develop them on the floor. But for the rest, the biggest chunk of a performance is really made in advance, and then the rehearsals are really about just do what we made up, what we wrote down in advance.
Nice.
Yeah.
You were talking about Tonel Theatre.
Yeah.
So you were working there first as a residence
we actually
company?
got in because we asked to make a performance there, to play a performance there.
Okay,
and they said, we don't do that, co-productions, but do you want to come in-house and make several performances in our house? So we said, okay, and then we signed a pact that we would do it only for 4 years, and now it's like 10 years later, so we never left.
4 years, it's very nice.
Yeah, so that was the beginning.
Yeah,
to have this. But it was only 2 shows. 2 shows in 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's a little bit the time range of the funding in Belgium. Every 4, and now since a couple of years, 5 years, you have to apply for funding, for subsidies, or how do you call it? Funding. So if you sign as like for a fixed place in a house, then it's for 5 years. Back in the days for 4 years. But then every 4 years again, we decided, we're having such a good time here, and the team is so great. We would be crazy to just.
And we had from the beginning on, we had so much freedom artistically that we've never seen it anywhere else. It's really, they really give like a budget, and you can make whatever you want, how you want it, and that's really, really unique. So that's how we don't get the way there anymore.
What are you gonna do when you
have to go?
Have to go from.
We'll see.
We'll see. But so our position changed slightly the last few years, because we after being there for almost 10 years, we became artistic director together with actually all the artists, all the other artists in residence who are there. So we
another company of 2 people and then 3 artists. So it's like
5 parties at the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those 5 parties are the artistic direction. So it's
Collectively.
Really, collectively. Okay. So it's not so easy. It's quite.
It's an intense situation, huh?
It is. But it's also very interesting because the conversation between all those parties at the table is really profound and is inspiring on a very artistically level. So that has to say that every decision that is made, it's at first fed by the artistic thought. Which is quite unique, I think, because otherwise most of the time you have like this one artistic director and he puts out the lines, and of course he has a team around him, but now the team is the direction itself. So that's what we are exploring, because it's still an experiment, of course. We're just doing it for 2 years now. Okay. But that's
and this is the beginning of the 2nd year, so actually we just
so it's really an experiment.
Something that the theater does usually, or
no,
just
not
started?
at all.
No,
it's the first time that they do it.
Yeah. Okay. We invented it together.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the previous artistic director was Marie Vinck Stef Aerts. It's like a big European theater director, and he's really. He's a really great artist. But he at the theater for 15 years, I think. So it was time for him to go, and he's still making
13 years.
15.
15.
Yeah, so a very long time.
15.
15. Yeah.
Okay. Here it's very different.
And he already did something very special, because we came out of this in Belgium, out of this system of theater ensembles of actors. So then you had like one artistic director and like a team of actors around him. But Vinck Stef Aerts started...
It was very hierarchical.
And he decided to get rid of the actors ensemble, and he started an ensemble of creators, of artists, so theater makers. And we were one of those creators, so and the creators around him got budgets and did whatever they want. And then when Vinck Stef Aerts left, we proceeded his legacy, but
then without one artistic leader and a group, but just the group itself.
Okay. So you only get worried of in the artistic field, or also economic audience?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, because there's a thing with one of the partners of the company, Monica, I asked them, like, do you want me to tell them some question? And Monica said, ask them about the audience. How do they manage the audience in terms of if there is a lot of audience or not? How do you deal with this? It's important, not?
It's not easy to... zeg maar.
No.
Nee.
It's an interesting question, because we were invited several times to make something in Germany, for like a guest direction for some German theaters. Okay. And they're all very concerned about, we have to have a full house every night. We have to have 800 or 1,000 people in the venue every night. So
the title you come up with has to be a bestseller, something that everybody knows. It has to be like a classic.
It's like their first concern. But with us, it's quite different. It's not so important. Of course, we hope that as much as people who can be there will be there, but
it doesn't guide the program.
No, and we know that in the artists, like the fixed team of artists we have in Tonelas, some of them are making very experimental work, and it's not very convenient for an audience to relate with it. But it's important. We think it's important that also this work has a place in this in the theater, and maybe it doesn't give us like every night a full house, but we have
others who do.
And we are very lucky that in Belgium we have this funding system. We have to get an amount of audience like on a year basis, but we don't have to have every night a full house, which is a big luxury, but I think it's a very necessary luxury. It's necessary because it gives you the opportunity together with the audience, develop a very particularly tastes and present something to the people that they maybe were not expecting or intended in the first place to get to know. But yeah, you create like different sorts of audience. People who sometimes are very keen of connecting with a certain artist and not at all with another. But I'm very glad that we're allowed by the government to do it this way. Yeah. So actually, we're not that concerned about the amounts of audience. That, of course,
but it's always there.
Yeah, and we want to create a very we want to create a place where everybody wants to be and everybody and where things are happening. So of course, in our dreams, we have a full house every night, but it's not the main aim, and I think that's a very healthy thing.
Yeah. We were talking about England, for example, that we were there, and there also the audience thing, it's very, I mean, on the first line, no? Yeah. It's not one of the part, it's like the first.
The most important aspect.
It's hard, no?
It's very hard.
How is it here? How is it here with you? Yeah.
Well, it's also a thing, but of course the public theaters don't have that much pressure, no? I guess like in Belgium, no? It's
because they have subsidies.
They get subsidies, so it's not. But even in the public theater, it's a thing, and you can feel it in the atmosphere. And if you succeed with a lot of audience with something, it's quite normal that you get more work in the private sector also. No, like maybe doing a show in the public, and if it succeeds, then you jump to the private sector and you get more gigs or shows.
Okay,
it's a thing, like but I don't know, in our case, for example, we try hard not to think about, but at the end it's always there.
But I think it's one of the main tasks of subsidies, of funding, that theaters are allowed to take risks. Otherwise,
experiments.
You rather go to the private or the commercial sector, and then you know what people want, or you think you know that what people want, and you just put your money on this. But I think that's really the main task of funding.
Yeah, here there's always this friction of public, we shouldn't worry about this. But if numbers go down,
we do worry.
The next director will put like big names, big things to get up.
But the government really has to have trust in the people they allow to rule the theater there, and of course you have to trust on the fact that you and us, that we are not so self-indulgent that we don't care about an audience or whether there are people coming. Of course we do. Of course we do. That's we make theater for audience, for people. But we have to allow each other some experiment, and we have to trust each other. That's really important.
Well, and the idea of building an audience, like to build something. Maybe it starts from one and it grows. And what about the name of the company? Because we're talking about names, and now I thought, where's FC's from football?
Yeah.
And Bergman is...
But we're not football fans at all.
It started because it all started because we were in this very small theater festival, the one that Stef mentioned before, the first thing that we made together. We had to make a title, and they called us like, give us a group name, give us a title now, because we have to publish it in the newspaper, in the small paper of the festival. And we were in a bar, and the newspaper was open. It was at night, and we saw that Ingmar Bergman had just passed away that day. So we thought, Ingmar Bergman is gone. Long live FC Bergman. And FC is really because we were really a group of friends, always hanging out together. So it was really like a sin of the youth, we say. Do you know that expression? Like really something you're ashamed a little bit because you were young. Like that.
Yeah, I understand. I can imagine it was from Ingmar Bergman, but I didn't know. But at the end, I think that the names are important.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, but now I think it's a good name. And if I compare it with ours name,
what is your name actually? Yeah, I don't know.
It's Atresbandes, and we feel a bit ashamed of it.
What is it? What does it mean?
It's 3 ways.
Three ways.
3 ways.
Okay.
No?
It's a good name.
No, I don't know. We have some we don't like it, but like
we have similar feelings about FC Bergman.
That's
but
right.
FC Bergman, it's a bit more. It can be many things.
Yeah, what I like about it, is that it's Bergman means mountain man, and that's a word that I have a lot of fantasy with, like a mountain man, something dreamy or something.
Okay.
So the first poster we created for the first performance we made was really a guy climbing on a mountain, and the first title of the first project we created was the
Breaker of Rocks.
The Breaker of Rocks was a story about colonial, like the colonists in Congo, like a very black page in the history of Belgium, but about Henry Morton Stanley, the British explorer who worked for the very dark Belgian king Leopold II, who had lots of evil ideas with the Congo, and his nickname in Africa was Buna Matadi, like the Breaker of Rocks. So it really came together with
Bergman, mountain man.
So Berg is mountain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Like in German.
Okay. I think it's a name that it opens more imagination.
But 3 ways as well.
3 ways can be a lot, eh?
Yeah, but at the end it's always like three ways. You cannot get out of this. You know, this number, which is a very theatrical number, no? The triangle. There are things, but we are a bit always thinking like we change it, but no, it's too
that's
late.
a problem. We also thought about it, but at one
And
point it's too late to change.
And some, a friend of us, I'm not going to say his name, but he's, it's a choreographer that has worked a lot, in all over the world. He told us like, your name, it's a shift.
It's a problem.
It's a problem, No, because
he told you.
He's a close friend, and it's his mind, no? But I don't know.
What's in the name?
I'm interested in the audiovisual aspects of your shows. For one reason mainly, because I'm personally a bit in crisis with the mixture of audiovisual, of like video and performing, no? Mm-hmm. I don't know what happens to me, but we in the company we did one show, we try a bit, but I always get like I don't like it at the end, no? Like, because I want to see this and the other. Maybe it's a very difficult thing, but
I think you're right that it's a very difficult balance, and it should be really right before it's right.
It really has to be in a very beginning concept that you like just using camera or film just because it's
beautiful,
or it's just not enough. So
you have to need the two media. Mm-hmm. If you need the two of them, I think it works. But if you don't need them, like if it's like extra, it doesn't work. I think.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's always extra, no?
Yeah.
But even the projections, like I have something like when I see a projection, I get like. My eyes go there, and
it's hypnotizing.
Sometimes I see so many shows with a lot of things, but if there is like something going there, I don't need anything else because the image is so strong. The audiovisual is so strong. And I'm like a TV child, no? I've grown with TV, cinema. I've done theater, but cinema is very important for me. I like it very much. I go very often, and I always have this fight, no? Like I don't know how. And I know in Belgium it's very common, or we see Belgian companies that come here that are very used to.
Yeah.
My feeling is that it's just one tool more, no? That it's.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's because Belgium is a small country, and I think lots of the actors and directors and creators of theater are also involved in cinema in Belgium. We are.
Yeah.
So besides from FC Bergman, we also act sometimes in movies. So there's a very close bond, I think, between theater and cinema, because actually they are inhabited by the same people for lots of times.
Oh, nice.
So maybe it feels quite natural to.
Yeah, maybe here it's more separate.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there is people that works theater and cinema, and a lot of theater people from theater ends doing only cinema, but maybe not so mixture.
Yeah.
No, like.
And I also think, besides of that people nowadays are because we're living such a virtual life, that people are really looking for authenticity and realness.
Yeah.
But the strange
Contrast.
yeah, the contradiction.
You mean the audiences or everybody? No?
Everybody actually,
yeah.
but so also the audience.
Yes.
But the contradiction, I think, is that our reality becomes more and more the reality we know of film and series and television and social media and so
So you
on.
mean that things feel more real when they're filmed? That's what you mean?
Yeah. So I think we are crave for intensity, but also for authenticity, brings us inevitably to film, to the medium of film, and I think there's a big strength in the combination of the two, because of course you have the very ancient art of theater making, which in my opinion will be there for forever. It's there forever and it will be there forever. But I think it's just finding an attachment to the spirit of the time is really the reason that we get this medium of film more and more involved and intertwined with theater. Voilà.
Yeah, I think it's like a personal thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because
But it is
I
really...
work. No, I know it's real, but I feel it very personal. Because when I work with other people and I always, no, but you cannot do it. And they say, why not? Just, I mean...
Relax.
Relax, it's normal, and I don't know. It's just,
But I agree that it's really difficult.
Yeah.
I think we did 2 performances with film that worked really well, and then we did one that was a really big struggle. And and now we made a film that wasn't even theater anymore, it was just films. But I think the 2 first that we did, they worked because it was so necessary to use it. In the first one, the one that we play here, 300L.
Okay.
It was the first time that we used film.
Yeah. You only get to see what happens inside the houses you see on stage through this camera. So you really need the image to follow the story. Nee, we did in GR natuurlijk.
Yeah.
We did through 3
It is good
and 4.
to tell that we in our oeuvre we change it a little bit. The one time we create theater on a very artisanal way, just without screens, and most of the time it's like
the next one
we do with film. It's not a rule, but in the past it appeared to be like this, more or less.
Well, the sheep song has
no.
Yeah, that's why I
and the Land of Nod.
love it so much.
Yeah.
The Land of Nod doesn't have it either.
No.
But I remember seeing the sheep song, and I remember enjoying it also because of this feeling of no cameras, no audiovisual, and everything was. But well, I also want to see the 300.
Yeah.
But if you use camera, you have to really use it really well.
Yeah.
It has to be, as Marie told you, it has to be necessary, but also we've seen it a lot, like film in theater, and it's lots of time just on an aesthetically level.
Yeah.
So ugly. So you really have to, from the moment you use camera, you are comparing yourself to cinema, and people are so spoiled by seeing so much images made by the greatest movie and television directors. So you really have to try to reach for the stars also over there, and it's one thing to be very good in theater. It's like it costs lots of effort, as you know, and we know. But then you really take this other medium together. So you're really betting on two horses, as we say in Belgium. You're really making two works of art.
And you have to make sure they don't fight each other.
Yeah. So it's a very difficult balance, but we think it's worth it to try it now and then, but not every time. We also think it's very important to
stick to the
core of theater. But but we don't want to lose. We don't want to lose it as well.
I heard something very interesting from Christian Hatay. I don't know if I said the name right.
Christian
Hatay.
Oui?
Christian Jatahi.
Hati.
Yes, I think
she lives in Brazil. And well, I must confess I've never seen one of her shows, but I heard an interview of her talking because I'm interested in this, and she makes a documentary theater with a lot of presence on the camera. And she said a very interesting thing of this. She said, okay, I have cinema theater and there is this third stage, like a third space, no? She's interested in this, no? Like, it's not a dialogue between them, but it's like you create a third stage.
Universe.
A third universe. And well, now that you say this too...
But it's really, if we work with movie in our or with cinema in our theater, for me it really feels like being this professor, like working with this chemicals and mingling stuff, because it's really, as you said before, you always are very close to just doing too much or too little, so it's very...
And then you lose everything.
And then you lose everything, so it becomes much more, also it becomes more technical in a way.
Yeah.
Not only in terms of using technical material, but also like in the editing of your performances. It's very, it's not so easy.
No, I can
interesting.
Imagine. I can imagine. And what do you do in your shows? Like, because sometimes you perform, sometimes no. And in 300, you told me that you are the camera.
Yeah, so Stef is pushing the little chariot on which the cameraman is sitting, so he decides when to move and when not to move. So
together with Marie.
And I'm in the back, and I'm talking to everyone. So I'm like adjusting the rhythm of everything. I'm saying like, no, slowly. Oh, go on. We have to go on. No, wait. So I'm talking to
the audience hears you?
No. It's
just
purely between us.
And of course, we performed this thing for 12 years, so we know more or less what the tempo could be. But still, we like the fact that there's one of us in the audience. Marie, and back in the days I did it, and we sometimes we switch, but it's so nice that Marie or whoever is in the audience tells the story as it is written in the script to the camera team. So we have like our headsets, and we have like this narrator, Marie, who tells, okay, now we're coming in the first house, and what you see is this, and what you see is that, and then this is happening. So it's really going into a fairy tale with the narrator, and then the camera and the grip team. So I'm part of the grip team, is really going into the story, which makes it like very sensitive every time again.
And different, no? I guess,
of course. And we know after these 12 years, we know the tempo, we know what's going to happen, but
But being in that part of pushing, it's a little bit like being a too enthusiastic drummer who feels like I'm going good, and starts to go faster and faster, and you think no, you really have to slow down to tell the story because people in the audience, they don't know the story, but if you know it, you think okay, we're going. So it's really it's really slow down.
And it's so
That's
important.
My task.
The projects that we create are always about image and about rhythm and tempo, and it's so important to have sort of an overview and a control about this.
So it's like directing from the inside.
Yeah, and we are always, in every piece that we create, we're always involved. Sometimes as a like also in the tour. I mean,
Not only the premiere,
not only the premiere, but also when we're touring it. We're also, or we perform in it ourselves, or we are like the external eye, or directing it live, as now Marie does in this piece, or often we play very very small parts in our performances. So then
then we can still control everything else.
It's a way of directing.
But we really believe that it's important because, as Marie, the metaphor of the enthusiastic drummer is a very good one, I think, because if you just leave it to the performers, that's something it's something that you can do it with I think with plays or performances that are really about the performers and then
about text,
and then they decide the rhythm and the tempo and just the way the flow of the piece.
But when you play with other elements,
and it's like really a sort of a parade of images. You just as a performer, you're not in full control of it. So it's very important that there's this
outside
eye every performance again. And that's a little bit the way
our guest actors, I think, really hate it all the time because we really, when we're on tour, we keep on giving them notes every fucking performance because it can always be a little bit more this or a little bit more that. So we're really control freaks.
Yeah, and you enjoy it doing it?
Yeah. Sometimes the 60th, 70th time that we play performance with the sheep song, we've really played it a lot, and now we feel like okay.
What do you do in the sheep song?
A lot of small parts. So we change a lot of costumes, and then we do la 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 la, and it's done again, and then we change costumes. So it's.
But with 300L, in the beginning I used to do what Marie does right now, and after I don't know how many years, I thought now I'm done with it. I can't do it anymore. And then luckily Marie felt the need of doing something else, and so we switched positions. And it was I like really much being there
on the
stage, like pushing the camera because it's like being very close to the action and to the actors. And I think I hope you enjoy
absolutely.
Being in the director's seat right now. But so that.
Well, it's important, no, to find your place, and to change and to the motivation, because I guess it changes with time.
Being in the director's, in the live director's chair during the tour, it's. I think it becomes after a while it becomes frustrating because you're not in rehearsal anymore. You've had the opening night and you are touring it, so. The only thing that you're aiming for is to get it in the best, in the best condition. The condition that in the best case, you've seen on the opening night, and you just want to redo it. But theater is, of course,
a living medium.
And it's not about redoing it. We often think that it's about doing it again, but it's about doing something.
Doing it the first time, every
and you have to aim for doing something completely different every time, which is very difficult with the sort of theater we create because it's very technical and very, very precise.
But it's really funny because we've been playing this one 300L since 2011, and now it's 23, so it's 12 years. And I think only 2 years ago we got to the point that we told each other, it's finished.
It's finished.
So I think we worked on it for 8 years, still small changes in scenes and still small things, and now for 2 years it's really finished.
And it's nice because most of the performance, 300L is the one that we perform for the longest time already, but it's nice to perform pieces for a long time for this reason.
Yeah,
they keep on changing.
They keep on changing, and we have in our like little oeuvre, we have, I think, only 2 performances that we can say they're finished. Yeah, and
this is one of them.
the rest is still in work in progress, even after 8 years or.